You don't need more time, you need more focus. Hey guys, it's Yusra, and in today's video we're talking about how we're about to lock in and close off this year really strong. I don't know about you guys, but it just feels like everyone around me is so distracted. Every single day the news has more and more sensationalist headlines that are keeping us not focused on what we're supposed to be doing. The weather is getting nicer, it's getting warmer, it's getting brighter, the days are getting longer. People are trying to be outside instead of inside doing what they need to do. So let me ask you a question. If everything stayed exactly the same, if you didn't change one thing in your life or in your business, would you be happy with the outcome in 6 months, in 9 months, by the time the year comes and goes? Some of you might say yes, but some of you are probably thinking not really. And if that's the case, this is the right video for you. Hit the subscribe button down below and let's get into it. I read something recently which is so real. It said, if I were to look at your calendar right now, would I be able to guess what your goal is? And honestly, that definitely hit me, and I'm sure it hits you guys as well. A lot of the times we either don't know what we're supposed to be doing daily to work towards the outcome that we want, or we do know and we're just not doing it. When it comes to the first part of that equation, that is something that I talk about a lot on this channel. I have seen firsthand how so many people just are unsure what they're supposed to be working towards, what they're supposed to be working on next, what's a real priority and what's not so much of a priority. It feels like this really simple, logical part of our business and of our life that we should have a grasp on, but the reality is a lot of people just don't have a grasp on it. And that could be for a variety of reasons. It could be because you're just not exposed to what winning in whatever you're working towards looks like and how to get there. Maybe you just don't have the capacity, you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the resources to dedicate to really sitting down and reflecting and coming up with a plan that works for you. Or maybe you're just stuck, maybe you're just in a rut and you don't know and you need some help. All of the above are valid, but take this video as permission to start seeking the answers that you need. Because the reality is, in order to be successful, you need to be resourceful. And being resourceful is a skill. So anytime you are experiencing a barrier, anytime you're experiencing a challenge and you don't know what to do next, see that as an opportunity to sharpen this skill, to make decisions, and to be able to seek out the answers that you need in order to make the right decisions. We're in a day and age where there is endless resources available to support you when it comes to decision making, when it comes to idea generation, if you need somebody to just bounce ideas off of. Like, I'm at a point where I use ChatGPT for the initial stages of just about everything that I do. I honestly don't feel like, if you're familiar with AI or machine learning, that it's doing anything or gonna come up with anything that's really mind-blowing to you right now, you know, something that you wouldn't be able to Google yourself. But it's a great starting point to collect data. And I always talk about how important it is to collect data in order to make better decisions moving forward. And this is where I want us to reframe this idea of locking in. When people hear lock in, they think it's grind time, they think working 80 hours a week, getting your hustle on. If you guys know anything about me, that is the exact opposite of what I preach. Yes, I fell into that hustle culture camp many years ago, but I ended up experiencing extremely terrible burnout several years ago that completely changed the trajectory of my life. It impacted me so much so, guys, that I have never been able to return to the level of hustle and grind that I used to have. Like, I literally just do not have it in me. So for better or for worse, I have had to find ways to circumvent, to go around this challenge of just not having enough energy, not having enough to give. Well, not enough to give, but not having as much as I could give just a couple of years ago. Which brings me to the second part of the equation. If you are the person who has a good grasp on what can be done next, what can really move the dial when it comes to your business, but you just don't have the capacity, there's several practical steps that you can take. First of all, I just want to say that everything I'm gonna mention has either been covered more in depth or will be covered more in depth in this series, so make sure you hit subscribe and binge the whole thing. But let's kick it off with something that people are not honest about, which is the way that you're operating is probably not the most efficient way of doing things. Note that I'm using the word efficient here and not effective. Let's talk about the difference, because honestly in everyday use we use them interchangeably, but they're they're not the same thing. And especially when it comes to business, it's important to know the difference. So to do something effectively means you did it. You made it from point A to point B. You got done the thing that you were trying to get done. You achieved the outcome you were looking for. But to do things efficiently means not only are you achieving the outcome that you're looking for, but you're doing it using as little resources as possible. You're doing it using as little time as possible. You're doing it using as little energy as possible. See the difference? You guys get what I'm trying to get at. There's definitely a big difference between the two. Why is it important to know the difference between the two? Well, we just started off by framing the problem as you don't have enough capacity. Like you're just not able to find the time or the energy to do the things that you know you need to do. But my guess is that there actually is probably opportunities within your business to actually find some breathing room, find some available time, find some available energy to dedicate to doing things more strategically. And I know people always push back on this because we like to think that we're exhausted for a good reason, right? Like we like to think that, you know, all of this hard work we're putting into things is for a good reason and we have it all figured out, and no, the issue is just I don't have enough time. But I guarantee you, if I were to sit with you and we were to really explore, let's just say the things that you do out of habit, you're doing them out of habit even though you know it's not the best way to get it done. Oftentimes we're so busy just doing things the same way that we did it day one or that we've done it for the last year, just because it's almost easier to keep doing it that way than to sit down and figure out a better way to do it. And if there's something that's coming to mind for you guys right now, it's because there's an opportunity to operate and do your day-to-day work more efficiently. So if we're reframing this whole idea of locking in, we're not locking in to go hard and work more hours. We're locking in to get serious and start operating strategically. If you had 90 days to create all of your processes, what are the first things that you are tackling? These are the things that we are locking in to change, because we're really trying to end off this year strong. We're really trying to set ourselves up for success over the next 6 months, over the next 9 months. And we can't do that unless we're getting the things done that we need to get done. And truly, if you guys have no idea where to start, then check out the 3-day business audit challenge that I have down below, linked in the description box. Start there. There's no excuse not to participate. It's completely free and will get you reflecting on your business. Speaking of reflection, that takes me to the next point. If we're locking in, y'all, we have to have a pulse on our business. And most people have no pulse at all. Like they are just operating off of vibes. Can you imagine if your doctor was operating off of vibes? Think of your business as your baby, as your child that you are trying to ensure grows up to be healthy and strong and happy and lives a wonderful life, but you are taking them to the doctor and the doctor is just operating off of vibes. Like the doctor is not doing any weight check-ins, the doctor is not pulling out any tools or instruments that are needed to assess the health and progress of your baby. That is what you're doing right now. You are literally operating off of vibes. Where are the metrics? Where are the tools? Where is the measurement that needs to happen to know if you are on track or off track? Because if you don't have that, it's like locking in to do what? Locking in to achieve what? How will you know if it's been achieved? You literally have no way of measuring what you're working towards. And I find when this part of a business is missing, oftentimes it rolls back up to a missing strategy. The strategy or direction of the business is missing, the goals are missing, and the infrastructure, the systems and support in place to support these goals, support the direction, are also missing or have significant gaps. Again, we're not locking in for the fun of it. We're locking in order to achieve a better outcome. We're locking in order to achieve more freedom. So we have to have a very clear vision of where we're headed and what success looks like in that destination that we're headed to. So if you are tired of feeling scattered, you're tired of feeling disorganized, if you want to capitalize on this momentum of being ready to take action in a time when everybody's distracted, then drop a comment down below and let us know what your big goals are that you're working towards in the season of being locked in. See you guys in the next video. Bye.